you ever gotten all the way to work and forgotten something critical, like your work computer or your office key? Or have you walked all the way to class, taking your seat just at the bell, then remember you left your assignment on the counter at home? These mistakes are common and expensive. They cost us time, energy, money, reputation, and they add a lot of stress to our lives. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a simple and easy way to prevent this from ever happening in the first place? Well, there is. It's a simple trick I learned in Navy flight school, an important tool I used throughout my entire career flying in the Navy and still do, and something that you can use every single day to make your life so much easier. And I'm going to teach it to you today. I'm Jason M. Garrett, a retired Navy commander and pilot, and I created Dadograms to continue to teach my kids those things that can help them win in life. And each and every one of you are invited in as well. So let's get started, shall we? Have you ever watched an airliner take off? Do you have an appreciation for just how complex such a machine is? Just look in the cockpit, for Pete's sakes. Look at all those switches and knobs and computer screens. Did you know that if a single switch is out of place at the wrong time, it could cost the lives of everybody on board? That's a fact. Yet flying our friendly skies is easily the safest way you can get around. Despite what you occasionally see on TV, a crash that causes anyone harm or death is statistically so rare, it's not even worth thinking about. But if a single switch in the wrong place can cause a crash, how do pilots remember all the positions they need to be in at the exact right times and get it right so consistently? The answer is they don't memorize anything. They simply follow the checklist. Any aircraft that flies has a checklist to start it, taxi it, and take off. A checklist as it climbs through various altitudes or descends back down through them. Checklist when they're coming in for an approach and when they land. The more complicated the aircraft, the more extensive the checklists. In the helicopter my wife and I flew in the Navy, the mighty SH-60 Bravo Seahawk, we had this, the pilot's pocket checklist. We never got in the aircraft without it. It's thick, and on both sides are nothing but checklists that told us exactly what to do for every situation, step by step. There was even a checklist if mechanical work had been done on the aircraft, and we had to test it out to make sure that it was safe to fly. But checklists aren't just necessary for the complex world of aviation. They are useful to all of us every day. In fact, you use them probably every day and don't even know it. Need an example? Do you cook your own meals? If so, do you use a recipe? Well, you're using a checklist. It is a step-by-step procedure you follow to accomplish something. Consider what would happen if you didn't use a checklist in cooking. And you guys can try this fun-filled experiment at home anytime you like. Try cooking a regular old microwave dinner without using the instructions. See how that turns out. Because after all, the instructions are a checklist on how to properly prepare the meal. Ignoring the instructions or even missing a single step, and you'll have smoke pouring out of the microwave, or you'll be eating undercooked chicken. Both are bad and definitely should be avoided. That's why checklists exist, so you can get the routine things done exactly the same way every single time. This creates consistency, and you don't have to spend all the time and effort figuring out how to do it all over again each time, and then memorizing that process to make it easier the next time. It's already written down. It's a checklist. Now here's the thing. You don't have to be a Navy pilot or a cook to make a checklist work for you. You can create your own checklist for your own daily processes. A great example is getting out the door in the morning, heading out to work or school. If you're like me, you'd pack an entire backpack filled with things you'll need throughout the day. For me, I had a 1-hour drive to work every single morning, and there was no quick run home if I forgot something. I had to bring all my work with me, like my computer, my flight gear, my workout clothes if I was going to try and hit the gym, my lunch, water bottle, coffee, and on and on. If I forgot any of these, it disrupted my routine at work and made things hard. And the worst of all was when I got all the way to the base after having driven an entire hour to get there through hellish traffic, just to realize as I'm trying to get on the base that I'd forgotten my military ID at home. It is required to get through the front gate. So I'd have to drive all the way back home, fighting all that traffic, grab it, and then head back to work again. A 1-hour commute had just become a 3-hour commute. I like driving my Prius and all, but not that much. I did that once, and I decided I needed to build my own checklist to make sure I didn't ever forget anything ever again. So I wrote everything I needed for work every day on a green sticky, stuck it up here on the cabinet door where I would never lose it. And I used it like a Navy checklist, where I did not leave the house until I went down the list, line by line, looking at everything on it and verifying that it was in my hands or already in the car. As soon as I built the checklist, some awesome things happened. One, no more wasted time or stress or frustration because I had forgotten something. That was a win. The other thing, it freed me up of a lot of mental processing time because I didn't have to think about what I needed to bring in every single day. I just followed the checklist, and my mind was free to think of other things, bigger things, more important things. Now, occasionally I would edit my checklist, and you can see this on my green sticky here. After all, things change over time. I once had to remember to bring in a COVID mask with me to work as it was a requirement on the military base, so I added it to the list. As soon as the requirement went away, I scratched it right off the list. So my checklist is a living document, meaning I update it on occasion. It isn't set in stone, but it is always current and up to date. Checklists are extremely useful and have made my life so much easier, and it can work for you too. We've all got too much going on to waste brain power trying to remember every little thing. We need that mental bandwidth for problem solving, creativity, and strategic thinking. Not trying to remember that we need to pack a pen or our keys or an ID card or any of that piddly stuff that seems so trivial until we actually forget it. That's why checklists work. Even Einstein understood this. He famously said, "I don't memorize anything I can look up." And I absolutely agree with that. That's why I rely on various checklists I use in my own life. And there are a lot of them. And I recommend using them in your own life too. Never again waste time memorizing what you can just write down and follow step by step. Now, a few words of warning. First, a checklist isn't a typical to-do list where you write things down, do them, then scratch them off and forget about them. A checklist is something you use repeatedly every single time you go through a specific routine, like getting out the door in the morning with everything you need to take with you. Second, building a checklist is one thing. Actually using it is another. It takes self-discipline to stop and check each item off the list, one by one, item by item, day after day. If you skip that step, you're not really using it and you'll forget something. And you'll pay the price for it when you do. In the Navy, we use checklists constantly. It's second nature to us, trained in me during flight school. And I can tell you, they make life so much easier and more efficient even now. And now, I want you to experience that for yourself. Here's how you can get started. Step 1, think about any complex yet routine process in your life, like packing for work, or school, or travel, or even paying your bills. Consider everything you need and write it down on a sticky note or type it up on your phone. Number 2, start using it. And if it's not perfect the first time, no worries, edit it until it works. 3, stick to it. Use that checklist consistently and follow it line by line every single time you start that process. Don't get into the habit of trying to memorize it or by using it so often that it becomes second nature. You really do have to look at it and check off each item every single time. And finally, and as a bonus, enjoy the peace of mind knowing you haven't forgotten a thing on your list once you've checked it off. It won't be long before you can focus your mental processing toward the really important stuff in your life. By following a checklist, you won't have to sweat the small stuff and you can keep your focus on the big stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. If this video has helped you, or if you think it could help someone else, share it with a friend or drop a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips on how to make your life easier, more organized, more efficient, and ultimately how to keep winning in life. Until next time, enjoy your checklist and go forth and conquer.